Oh!
The Pentagon has plenty of cruise missiles in its arsenal, from the long-serving Tomahawk to the new JASSMER. But a new missile set to enter service in 2027 is radically different. The new Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile, HACM, will fly up to 20 times faster, giving adversaries little time to escape its wrath. HACM will be the first mass-produced weapon to use air-breathing scramjet engines. Raytheon and Northrop Grumman won a contract worth $985 million to develop the world's first hypersonic cruise missile. HACM, developed for the United States and Australia, is an air-launched hypersonic cruise missile designed to quickly strike targets on the ground. Under the terms of the contract, the Pentagon should see the first operational missiles in 2027. In 2020, the US and Australia jointly began the Southern Cross Integrated Flight Research Experiment Partnership, or SCIFIRE. Named after the constellation that appears on Australia's national flag, SCIFIRE was meant to develop an air-breathing hypersonic weapon system designed to be carried on both US and Australian aircraft, including the F/A-18 Super Hornet, F-35A Joint Strike Fighter, P-8A Poseidon aircraft, and others. The contract will mature the Raytheon SCIFIRE prototype into an actual weapon system. HACM is a tactical weapon designed to be used on day one of a large-scale conventional conflict. HACM will provide our commanders with tactical flexibility to employ fighters to hold high-value, time-sensitive targets at risk while maintaining bombers for other strategic targets, Air Force Chief of Staff General C.Q. Brown said in an Air Force statement last week. Traditional cruise missiles are basically pilotless aircraft. Like many aircraft, turbofan engines power cruise missiles, propelling them at subsonic speeds. Cruise missiles fly low to avoid radar detection, and a slower speed helps them fly lower and hug the ground. Tomahawk cruise missiles, for example, fly at an altitude of between 98 and 164 feet at a speed of 550 miles per hour. HACM is a hypersonic weapon, which means it flies at Mach 5 or faster, but we don't know exactly how much faster it will fly. Most missiles that remain in the atmosphere, like air-to-air missiles, top out at around Mach 3+. SCIFIRE was descended from the earlier HIFIRE program, which tested a scramjet engine at speeds up to Mach 8. HACM will be the world's first operational weapon system to use a scramjet engine. Like turbofan engines, scramjets scoop up oxygen from the surrounding atmosphere to use as fuel. One key difference between the two is that a turbofan engine scoops up oxygen at subsonic speeds, while a scramjet scoops it up at supersonic speeds. More oxygen means more fuel for the scramjet engine, which enables it to propel the missile even faster. According to NASA, scramjet engines should work to at least Mach 15. That translates to 11,509 miles per hour, or fast enough to circle Earth in about 2 hours. Hypersonic weapons are the new hotness in warfare. Most of the avowed nuclear powers have technically had hypersonic weapons for a half-century or more, as the ballistic missiles that carry nuclear warheads travel at hypersonic speeds, impacting their targets at up to 15,000 miles per hour. This new generation of hypersonic weapons is different in that it is non-nuclear in nature, at least so far, and would be used immediately in a conventional war. There's a lot we don't know about HACM. We don't know how fast it really flies, or how far it flies. All we know is it is small enough to be carried by a fighter jet and will be ready by 2027. One thing is for sure, HACM is awkward and we need a better name for it. Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile, HACM, is an air-launched, scramjet-powered hypersonic weapon built in partnership with Northrop Grumman. The missile is designed to hold high-value targets at risk in contested environments from standoff distances. HACM is a powerful example of developing and integrating combat capabilities alongside our partners from the beginning, said USAF Chief of Staff, General C.Q. Brown. HACM will provide our commanders with tactical flexibility to employ fighters to hold high-value, time-sensitive targets at risk while maintaining bombers for other strategic targets. In 2020, USAF engaged in a multi-year, bilateral project arrangement with Australia known as the Southern Cross Integrated Flight Research Experiment to develop air-breathing hypersonic cruise missile prototypes. The Air Force awarded 3 15-month SCIFIRE contracts in June 2021 to Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon Technologies to complete preliminary designs of a hypersonic cruise missile. The HACM program will now operationalize the Raytheon SCIFIRE prototype design for fighter aircraft integration and deliver 2 leave-behind assets with operational utility. We have over a decade of cooperation with our Australian allies in the advancement of hypersonic technologies, and now we will bring that shared knowledge to bear to address urgent national defense requirements, said Andrew Hunter, Assistant Secretary of USAF for Acquisition, Technology and Logistics. Through the SCIFIRE agreement, the US and Australia will continue collaborating on HACM design and development, including using Australian test infrastructure for the initial all-up-round flight tests. Air Vice Marshal Robert Denny, AM, Head of Air Force Capability for the Royal Australian Air Force, said SCIFIRE is providing an opportunity to understand and influence the future of hypersonic weapons development and acquisition. SCIFIRE demonstrates our commitment with the US to strengthen capability outcomes, deepen our alliance, and strengthen our cooperation as we meet emerging challenges and support regional endeavors. USAF plans to deliver HACM with operational utility by fiscal year 2027. Raytheon beat out fellow defense giants Boeing and Lockheed Martin to win the Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile (HACM) contract, worth $985 million, the Air Force announced today. According to the contract announcement, the next phase of the program include HACM weapon system design, development and initial delivery through the performance of model-based critical design review, qualification, integration, manufacturing and testing. If HACM development continues to progress, the weapon could become the first scramjet-powered, air-launched hypersonic missile to be introduced into the Air Force's inventory as early as 2027, the service said in a news release. In 2020, the Royal Australian Air Force became involved in the development of the missile through the Southern Cross Integrated Flight Research Experiment Initiative, and could offer up Australian test infrastructure for the initial all-up-round flight tests, the Air Force said. HACM is a powerful example of developing and integrating combat capabilities alongside our partners from the beginning, said Air Force Chief of Staff General C.Q. Brown. HACM will provide our commanders with tactical flexibility to employ fighters to hold high-value, time-sensitive targets at risk while maintaining bombers for other strategic targets. Boeing, Lockheed, and Raytheon won initial HACM design contracts in June 2021. Brigadier General Heath Collins, then the Air Force's Program Executive Officer for Weapons, told Breaking Defense in May that the competitors were expected to finish preliminary design reviews before the end of September, which would allow the service to down-select to a single vendor before the start of the new fiscal year on October 1. The Air Force has shown a strong interest in the HACM program, requesting $316.8 million in its fiscal 2023 budget submission, an increase of almost $257 million more than FY22. According to the budget, the HACM vendor will progress to the critical design review stage in FY23, where it will continue the assembly, integration, and test of subsystems for qualification testing, as well as prototype systems for system qualification, ground test, and flight testing. Thanks for watching Warzone. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. We'd recommend you watch this video next.